Hello and welcome to Nonic Nonsense, a show where the opinions are like the rooms at Ripley Greer. Cursed. I am Cat Gold.
I am Michael Matadomini. We're gonna hop straight into it today. We have Adela herself, Ashley Rubin.
Hi.
Oh
How's
my.
it going, Ashley?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Kat, you doing all right?
I'm doing, man. I'm doing. I'm
Good.
doing. So to get things started, I just love to ask this general question because I feel like everyone's got an interesting story and I love to hear them. So how exactly did you get your start into theater and like the performing arts?
So when I was a little girl, we used to drive out of I lived in New York City, and we used to drive out of the city on the weekends. And in the car, there was a lot of time, and my parents put on musicals, like classic musicals. So that's what I had listened to. And then when I was in high school, I wanted to join the gymnastics team, but I was afraid to do that by myself. I wanted a friend to do it with me. I wasn't very outgoing. And she would only join the gymnastics team with me if I took a tap class with her. So I took tap, um, and I really liked it. And then I went to a theater camp that you didn't have to audition to get into. So Stage Door Manor. And I went there for 2 years, and I I loved it. I wasn't particularly good. I never had a voice of any type. I wasn't like one of those gifted, like, man, that kid's going to Broadway. Like, I was not cast in our middle school shows. I auditioned for that, both of them. So I didn't have a lot of confidence because I was never told I was good. Um, but I went to theater camp. I loved it. And then I'd never heard of community theater. That wasn't a thing where I grew up. But when I went to college, I never heard of BFAs or BAs or any of that, any auditions, but I still love theater. So I figured I'd major in theater, and I wound up minoring in dance at University of Arizona, which is a phenomenal dance program. They let me in on a whim, which is a whole story. I didn't go through the auditions for that because there is no way that with like one semester, like I had no ballet. I just not taken anything, but I wound up in this top tier program, and I kind of Mr. Magoo'd my way. And then someone gave me a job, and then that job gave me another job, and then the other job gave me another job. And then all of a sudden I was a working actor. And I'm always surprised. And I think that's why I love it so much, because I'm always so grateful to be here, because I fully, I don't know, but they let me do it. They give me a beautiful costume and they let me on stage. So I happy as a clown. No complaints. 10 out of 10. Fully recommend.
Ashley Rubin makes the best choices. Always, ever. Like, there's never a moment when I'm in a show with Ashley Rubin and she's not making a brilliant choice. We have a couple of examples here. I mean, because we've done how many shows together? We've done Grease, Guys and Dolls. We did Little Mermaid, Mary
Yeah.
Poppins.
Yeah.
I believe that's it. So it's been
That it?
4.
Yeah.
There's
Did you? Yeah. You did. No.
Is this Sister Act?
Did you do this? Yeah. Sister Act.
Sister Act. Oh my God, yes, Sister
Yeah.
Act. I forget that Sister Act happened.
Yeah.
Something that sticks out in my mind, and I do because we've talked about this on the pod before. we have a tradition now, Ashley, Rubin, and I, where every show that we're in, we try to throw dice. And so there's a couple of videos, and I'll make sure to put them in here, of Ashley and I just throwing dice, because during a scene, the crapshooter scene with Eminem's Guys and Dolls, there's this very long, it's like a 30-minute scene of just them throwing craps and talking shit down in the sewers. And there's the leads and all that kind of jazz, and then the ensemble is filtering in and out. And Ashley was playing a full game of dice by herself. It was the funniest thing. Like, I'm talking to Colleen and I'm having a whole chit chat, and I look over and Ashley's playing dice, and I'm like, all right, great choice. And I look back and I continue on with the scene, and about 25 minutes goes by, and I look back and Ashley's still throwing dice.
You gotta practice.
She was getting her practice in.
We had crap shooters in that production.
It was that, and then when I started this pod of Adele, there's it was that choice where you stood out from those Mer sisters just based on a choice, and you were one of the first people to truly break me on stage, because during the contest, Grimsby comes out and he does this whole thing, and then all the girls hit this final note in his face to end the song, and Ashley's right in front of me, and it was supposed to be like, hey, sing off tune, choose your own adventure. And Ashley dead ass looked at me in the face and went, ah. And I lost it. I couldn't be professional. I was like, oh my God. And I turned to Nate for solace, and Nate broke too. So it was just a full-blown nightmare. And I was like, God, Ashley Rubin.
I like to make, if there's a choice that no one would think of, I like to make that choice. And I always do it in rehearsal so that the director has a chance to say no.
Yes.
I want to pull focus. That's like the main thing. And I always want to be truthful to my circumstances and who I'm playing and stuff. So I'm very specific that once we open, the show is set. But that being said, when I'm, and believe me, I've been told that things are wrong. I forgot I want to be like a motor. I was like I was doing Forum, and I thought it would be funny if my harem character, my dance naked girl character, was like this motorcycle trucker. And we just run around, because I never play that. And the answer was no, wrong choice, when we were doing the run around, and I was trying to so it cut. Happy to throw out a thing and happy to have it cut, but every once in a while you stumble upon something that's funny, or that touches somebody, or
It's, your choices are smart though, Ashley. That's what I really wanted to hint at. They're smart. And I don't laugh at choices that are like they're supposed to get the laughs.
Yeah.
I laugh at a smart choice. So all that stuff that you did, I was like, oh my God.
I appreciate that. Is so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Now, how many times have you done Grease?
Oh.
we got to talk about Grease. Grease is the word.
It is the word. Okay, so I think 5, the grand total. So I did the tour for a year or 9 months. I did almost 6 months of it quite soon after at a place called Jenny Wiley Theater that no longer exists in Kentucky.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. And then I did Eminem, and then I did Eminem again. And I just did Mountain Theater Company in North Carolina, where I submitted. They were doing Catch Me If You Can. And I saw an ad on Playbill for the mom of the teenager in Catch Me If You Can. So I submitted for that. I sent in all my Tanya Mamma Mia stuff, all my older, I'm the teenager's mother material. And they said, great. can you do these Frenchie sides for us? So I did it. And then I thought, and then they cast me in it, which I was thrilled because I really thought that my Frenchie time was done. And I was like, okay, maybe they're like aging up. Maybe it's oftentimes casts are more mature. But no, I was 20 years older than all the other pink ladies, and the sweet, sweet poor boy playing opposite me, who was like 22, literally. And they were
Infant.
yeah. I was a decade older than Vince Fontaine. I mean, I was so much
Why such a young Vince Fontaine?
I think it was I think that might have been somebody bumped up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not positive, but that's what I think. Because he did play ensemble / Vince. Like he was one of the good kids and then played Vince.
Yeah, so like someone probably like left the contract and like they needed a replacement kind of thing.
Correct.
Potentially. Yeah.
As he wasn't Teen Angel. So there were two artistic directors there at the theater who are both phenomenal, stunning singers. And they actually traded off as my Teen Angel. So
cool.
Yeah, which was really cool. But the track that's usually been Fontaine / Teen Angel, it totally worked because then you were able to have a good kid in the ensemble and Vince Fontaine. He wasn't just there for the dance.
Got it.
So yeah, a lot of Grease.
Now, do you have a favorite production?
Oh my God.
The tour. Are you kidding
me?
Not
counting the tour, because the tour has to be number one.
I mean, the national tour, that was yeah, that was, and Eddie Mecca was my Teen Angel. I grew up watching Laverne and Shirley, so to have him, and then on our very first bus ride, so there you watch movies on the bus, and our very first bus ride, the movie was A League of Their Own, which he famously dances with Madonna and makes out with her, and the whole bus was going nuts. And yeah, it was tour. The other ones, honestly, there were different aspects of each one that I loved. And that's what's so great, like especially a show like that it's so built on relationships. Like as a pink lady, your relationships with the other pinks really changed the full dynamic of the show. So I've been really lucky. All the pinks that I've been with in all the productions have been great, but they've been different. So I'm almost playing a different role every time because what I do is so based upon what they do. And especially in Beauty School Dropout, I mean, I'm just sitting there reacting. So what happens to me in Beauty School Dropout is so based upon what my Teen Angel is doing. And especially having trading off between two Teen Angels in my last production was so much fun. And I'd never know who it was before I stage and heard the pre-recording. Oh, just picking up a poodle. Hold on.
We got a poodle break here for the first time on Non-Ec Nonsense.
We have a poodle. I'm poodle sitting. But going back to, so having a completely different dynamic really changes that role in particular. And I love that. I love finding new things in something that I've done before. And I would like to think that in any role I do multiple times, it's not going to be a carbon copy. Like I want to act with the people that are acting with me and not just say a line one way, because that's how I said it before. And that's how I like how it comes out of my mouth, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I would definitely be interested in, like, doing myself. I've never played the same character again. So, I've done the same show, but with Grease, I played Sonny, as you know, and then I played Danny the second time.
Mhm.
Um, and there's I hope I like Grease. Hot take. I like Grease. I know
Yeah,
some people don't, but I do. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Grease
Um,
is fun.
Grease is
so
very
much.
fun. So I was like, if I have a chance to play the character again, that would be fun to because you're a smart actor if you listen,
Mhm.
and you
Hmm.
respond. And I think that's a part of the job that people really don't think about until you are thrown in situations that, rely on it. Like, when there's accidents on stage, you got to listen and respond.
Yeah.
For example, we did Witches of Eastwick recently, and a
Mhm.
drop came in when it was not supposed to come in, and it hit the floor, and we were all like,
Oh,
listen
oh
and
no.
respond, listen and respond,
Yeah.
to get through situations. So, it's that type of stuff that, makes you a good actor.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I would like to do Grease again, and if I do and I get cast as the same character, then great.
Which trick would you want to do, Sunny or Danny?
Well, I have this running joke, at least with myself, that I want to mark off all the T-birds. And my hair is like, no, you're not going to do that. So, so
I
There are
have
wigs for a reason.
solutions for that.
yeah. So, for any theaters that are coming up, I would like to play Duty, Roger, or Kaneki.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm good with Danny.
Yeah.
Danny's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. There's only so far you can go with Danny Zuko.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like I could, like, because I portrayed Sunny very Brooklyn. It was my first
Yes.
professional show,
I
and I
love
was like, let's make a choice. Like,
Yeah.
I was reading these lines and I was like, there's no way that I could do this without having a Brooklyn accent with it.
Uh-huh.
So it would be interesting to go into that role again and try it some other way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can even do I think your take on it was so perfection, but
Yeah.
do it with that same take and then based on how other people reacted to you, that would create a whole new performance.
yeah, and I mean, Jonathan Van Dyke, when he when he was like, "All right, this kid's gonna stick with the Brooklyn accent, so let's
Yeah.
figure it out." Having Sonny enter spewing a bunch of Italian curse words because he's pissed off that Miss Lynch gave him a detention, like, it's those
Yeah.
types of things, and especially since, like, I want to take a more directing kind of approach,
Mhm.
because I have a couple things lined up now. I love directing. I've realized it recently.
Congratulations.
Um,
That's awesome.
Thank you. Seeing, like, having a director that was just like, go for it, and we'll modify and we'll add fun things for you, gave me the freedom to be like able to make choices and have fun and try new things. And that led to a great take. And I mean, doing Grease twice, like, I found appreciation for both things, because the second time I did Grease, we had a real car. And that was, something to work around. But the projection work in the opening number in Eminem's Grease, like, if
Yeah.
I'm
I
ever
loved
going
it.
back and I'm like, yo, this was bad ass. Like, having
Yeah.
all of our yearbook photos up on the wall. I put my phone number as a signature on the
That was so smart.
and I
So
had
people could
people
call
call
you.
me. I changed my voicemail and everything. I was like, "Hey, it's Sonny Latieri. Can't get to the phone right now." And I
Oh
had a
my
couple people call. I had like 2, 3 people call, which was like really funny. But also, I was like, "Please put your phone away during the performance."
yeah. Yeah.
I gotta catch people, throw them right under the bus, Chris Hansen style.
Oh my goodness. No, I feel like I I feel like my Jan time came and left. I feel like I mean, you don't know, but I feel like
Who's to say?
who's to say? I
I
could
would
be
love to play Roger next to you, Kat. That would be
listen
ridiculous.
listen. No,
Go
no
French
it be listen.
geriatric Frenchie at your service.
Oh my god. No, but like the thing is you look young. I look
And
old for my age, and so people have been telling me like, oh, you're 30 for like 10 years now. So like I feel like doing Jan like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, however long it was. Like that was probably like the last time. I would love to do it again. I because it was fun. Um, but even then when I got the offer, I was like, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm like, I give youthful energy. All right. I'm used to playing roles that are 40 to 60, but I'll take it. Like,
Yeah, it was the same thing. When I got my contract, like I sat down with Marcy because I've known Marcy since high school. So I went to go meet up with her to go sign my contract, and there was a dollar amount, and I was like, "Do I need to pay this to be in it?" Because in my mind, I've only been in like pay to play or high
Oh,
school production. So she was like, "No, you're making this a week," and I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" I
yeah.
was like, "Really? I love theater." Like,
And look at you now.
yeah. Now I'm like, great, this is perfect. Sign on the dotted line. No, no, but it's so fun to see growth because and cat still thinks I'm green as hell sometimes, and I mean I
no,
am
not
to some aspects.
not like then.
Oh my God, that was so bad. I was like, "What's equity?" And you're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like,
I was just
shut
like,
up.
how did you end up here?
My
Like
favorite
legit.
thing was Kat going, "You should audition for Slow Burn." And I was like, "What's Slow Burn?" She was
Where
like,
do you
"Are
recognize
you?"
time? Look at that. Age
She,
ain't.
I know. Oh my God. Shout out Amy Tanner. Because when Patrick was like, "I need boys for Mary Poppins," Amy Tanner had my back. So if it wasn't for Amy Tanner, you never know. Butterfly effect. It's very weird.
Oh my goodness. I love that production of Grease. The only thing that was sad was like it was right at like peak of Omicron.
Yeah.
And if it happened like literally any other time, I think well, we wouldn't have had to cut our run short, but like
Forgot
we
that
would have
happened.
I
yeah,
don't even
no.
remember that happening. We
Yeah, we
cut.
lost a week, right? Or something
Yeah, we
like that.
lost a week.
Gosh, I didn't remember that at all. That's horrible.
So yeah, no. So what happened was we were supposed to open a week earlier and then we had all the chaos happen and like we had some technical holdups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we just basically like had an extended like tech.
Mm-hmm.
And we also like during that process, like our choreographer was out for a while. So like there were certain dances that we hadn't been able to work on.
Oh
So
my
like
Yeah.
God, this stuff is scratching the back of my brain.
yeah,
It's
no,
like,
no, no.
remember this?
No, no, no. I no, it was just like if it wasn't during that time, we could have, had like the full run of performances and like I think it would have been lovely.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
That
things
was
happen.
that was a phenomenal show. Like sometimes I really go back to it and I just watch it for giggles. Like today I went back and watched Guys of Dolls because I was like, I
Oh,
need to see what this is about. But Grease like itself, because it was already even with the lost week, I think it would have been just as good, if not more fine-tuned.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
throughout the rehearsal process, we were missing a new person like every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Uh,
Yes.
there was a period of time during those rehearsals where um we were doing it over video and I love these recordings because it was Johnny by himself playing each of our parts and like talking to the camera that was like up on the stairwell like hi Kat, so this is the choreography and this blocking and spacing for the Freddie My Love scene and that and it's just him with like a pillow like doing and we're learning it over Google Drive. So it was just such a weird period of time.
Yeah, and having that be my first professional show, I was like, is it like this? I was like, is this really what y'all got to deal with? Because this shit's crazy.
yeah. No, that's not really that's not really the norm.
Not at all.
But
It's not
these
even
days it
close.
happens. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy, you know?
The
And
world needed Grease at that point too. So we were like, we're gonna throw this
Truly.
fucking show up no matter
yeah,
what happens. Like we need to just get it out there. We worked too hard at that point. It was insanity.
yeah.
You know, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
No,
The
the
amount.
first three professional gigs, it was just COVID, COVID, COVID. Like nothing crazy happened in Guys and Dolls, but Spelling Bee got whacked with COVID. And I
Oh,
was like, oh my God. And thank God another show hasn't been whacked like that since.
Knock on
But
wood.
so Ashley,
mhm.
did you have any shows that got like whacked by COVID?
Or
Um,
crazy show experiences where you go, is this what theater is fucking like?
so besides Greece that hit during Omicron, prior to that, I we had just opened back up. We had all gotten vaccinated, and I did this production of Beauty and the Beast, and I was swinging it. I was covering 9 tracks. I wound up going on for 8 out of 9. There was one silly girl I did not do, but I was in crossover. So we did. I was in crossover between that, and that show went off really well. Like I had some scheduled uh times when I was on because since we had all just been vaccinated, like a lot of people had weddings and things like that. So that was great. Like I knew in my contract that I was going on as Babette, this and that. But then there were just illnesses, normal things that happened. But then that went off pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
We were in crossover between that and my first of two, Grumpy Old Men, the musical,
Mm-hmm.
the musicale. And I think that to this day is my most cursed production I have ever done. Um, so I was covering only 4 tracks in that show. Um, the thing about and so I was swinging it and dance captaining it. But it was tricky because I was also doing 8 shows a week of Beauty and the Beast, where I was in, split tracking and in a different track every day. So I would miss a lot of the rehearsal when I was doing a matinee or something like that. Um, but it was pretty, there's not too much to Grumpy Old Men the musical. We're not the Rockettes over here. But the one interesting fact about that is every single character in that show speaks. Everyone, it's about a town. Well, it's not about town. It's about 2 grumpy old men fighting for a lady. But in terms of ensemble, it's a town. So everybody, there's Fran and Stan, who are the polka people. And then there's like one lady who's like the busybody neighbor, and Carla, who like runs the coffee cart and things like that. So everybody has a couple of words here and there sprinkled in. So
Mhm.
we had no male swing, but the female swing. And we're in rehearsals, and I guess we're in tech. And one of the days, one of the girls, I guess, had hurt her ankle. And so she had to go to the doctor's office. And one of the guys he had to go to a wedding. So I was doing his offstage track because this is the type of establishment at the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater, which I love. But you move the sets and stuff. Like it was very like the actors coming on stage and changing locations, which happens all the time in Grumpy Old Men, the musical. So I was doing the set changes for the guy, but I found out that one of the girls had hurt her ankle. So I was going in for her. And then she came back before Act 2, and she was in a boot, but it's Grumpy Old Men, so you could do it in a boot. What wound up happening is she got injured during the show and went out. And we always thought she'd be able to come back into the show, which never happened. But I went into her track and never left. So
Mm-hmm.
now we have no swings.
Mm.
So the night after opening, one of the grumpy old men went out. He got like a cold. And his understudy, see, these are all very seasoned actors. His understudy was not quite thinking he'd go on the next day. So it was and I also had to put that guy's understudy into choreography I hadn't even seen before, because it's like a lot of male heavy dances, but they had done that when I was doing Beauty and the Beast, and there just hadn't been time for me to learn it yet. So I quickly like learned it, taught it, did that show. Then the guy who played Grandpa got sick. So then we put that same guy who went in for the grumpy old man as Grandpa. But then Omicron hit. Or no, Liza Minnelli. Then Delta hit.
Mm-hmm.
We lost so many people. At one point, I shut the show down because I was the only female. I said I couldn't be the only woman in Wabasha. I couldn't be the only female in this town. There was not, everyone had COVID. And remember, every time, because it trickled down, it wasn't like everyone had COVID. And this was the time where you couldn't just take a test at home. There were no at-home tests. So one person tested positive, you all have to go to the parking lot of the medical center and wait 2 hours to get the thing. And so I'm rewriting, because anytime anyone goes out, I have to rewrite the script in order to accommodate whatever character I'm pulling that show, because we have no bodies. We're just literally out of people. So if Grandpa goes down, the guy who went in for Grandpa, the person goes into that person's track, and then someone else goes into his track, and we're still minus the ensemble male. So then we have to put Bo and Lo into one character instead of two. Like it's a whole thing. So then,
my brain hurts.
I remember when this was happening, and I saw your post on Facebook, and I was like, "Is Ashley okay?"
I mean, I lost a lot of weight. Let's just put it that way. Because I'd have to present what the show was going, because then we were all in isolation. So we're all in hotel rooms, and I'm presenting via Zoom all the line changes and all the new where everyone's standing and things like that, based on how many people we had that day. But then we got to the other grumpy old man wound up having a medical emergency, but his understudy had COVID. So I had to pull and then you also have to pull people of age. You can't take a 20-year-old and I mean, so many configurations. I have pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of script rewrites. I mean, we went through every single scenario. I pulled the artistic director's daughter into the show. I pulled the artistic director's husband into the show. We then were in crossover for Mamma Mia, where I was in the ensemble for the first 6 weeks and Tanya for the last 3. That's how my contract was laid out. And I was trying to learn my ensemble person, but our Tanya, who for the first 6 weeks had COVID. So I was actually playing Tanya. I had to rewrite and reblock and run the spacing rehearsals before our 8 shows a week, all in the 2 weeks. And this isn't some Mamma Mia choreo. Every single beat of music in this Mamma Mia had a different thing. Like I thought I'd be like the older aunt on the side. No, I was like the kid dressed in no clothes doing the full dance. It was insanity. Like that is hands down the craziest thing. And I mean, we really had like a lot of real, we're in Delta times, and we're dealing with people of a certain age. So it really was important. And luckily everybody was as COVID friendly as they could have been. We were in Shields when we came back. And our Mamma Mia was in Shields. But it was insanity. Like just who's taking what line and what cross just to make the show. I pulled our choreographer was in Mamma Mia, and I pulled him into our show, but he didn't know it. He was the choreographer. So I made him, I I took on a lot of his lines. Like I made him a track that would be easier for him to learn because I mean, we're not doing Oklahoma. It's not like people know the music of Grumpy Old Men, the musical. So when I
True.
pull people in who are unfamiliar, you know, you might know it because you've choreographed it, but that's a whole different thing than knowing lyrics and harmonies. And again, it's a small show. So everyone's harmony counts. I mean, there was so much that was the biggest one.
That's why
Ashley
they pay you the
Rubin's
big
brain
bucks.
was just a bunch of that SpongeBob meme with all the SpongeBobs running around in the brain with things on fire. Like,
I mean, I don't know SpongeBob, but that sounds about right.
Kat, can we insert like a clip of it just like right here? Just
Yeah, done and
yeah.
done. And that's just what was happening in Ashley's brain
Jesus
all the time.
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Listen, I knew you could do like hearing that. I was like, I know she got that done because you put together the choreography for Mary Poppins. Like you were handed tapes and you were like, here you go, and then you staged it. And that was original Broadway choreo. And Ashley Rubin was like, I got this. Like it's handled. And it was
And
great.
I was only supposed to do 2 numbers until a week in of our 2-week rehearsal process. On our Monday of the day off, that's when I was asked to set the whole show.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
wow,
yeah.
good for you.
So I had to learn it all because you want to know every piece of choreography that you're teaching to the best of your ability. You know, I don't like to teach out of a book.
Of course.
And that was a lot. Figuring out all the precision and order because not everything's on the tape. You know, on the tape, when you get a Bible, they have a couple of people from the tour. They'll have about 4 or 5 people doing it for you. But the difficulty is Mary Poppins, people aren't all doing the same step. So you only have like 5 people represented. You don't have every part. And like, for example, precision and order, they just gave me a book of arrows of directions and said like M2 forward. And, you know, they don't say what they're doing. So it took a really long time to dissect any video I can find. And, you know, and when they show it to you together, the music is 8 counts off of the choreography in every single number. So Walt Disney Theatrics, that it should be fixed because I just happen to know the show really well. But if somebody comes in and it doesn't make sense.
Disney, fix your videos.
Fix it.
Speaking of sticking it to Disney, would you like to talk about your journey with Disenchanted?
Yes, that transition of the season. Yes.
Yes. Disenchanted, the musicale.
So you were in the out of town tryouts in Tampa, correct?
Correct. I did the off-Broadway workshop at the Straz Center in Tampa 11 years ago. I swung Belle, The Little Mermaid, Rapunzel, and Cinderella. So you
got the Cat Gold track.
I did. I had the golds. I had the golds. I got a couple of shots at Belle, Mermaid, Rapunzel, and at the time that was all one track. I do have to say, my Rapunzel was paled in comparison to Cat Gold. I mean, everyone's does, but like, I mean, I love doing Rapunzel.
She's fun.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun. I had a whip. It was very like S&M when I did it back then. But that was something that my mom saw a video of and she was like, "You're not good at that one." I was like, "Thanks, Mom, but at least I know when I'm good at something." You know, she's very complimentary. But like I mean, believe me, I tried to do the performance you give. And that can't, it doesn't come out of my facility. But
Oh my
But
God.
your Cinderella, Ashley, I like I went out of that show again. I went into Disenchanted blind, like I feel like a lot of people do. Most people do, because
Yeah.
it should be more well known. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I walked out of there and Kat was like, "What was your favorite part?" And I was like, "Ashley fucking Rubin." Like, I love you, Kat, but the voice that you put on, the mannerisms, like, you expect Cinderella to be one thing, but like every time I see Cinderella now, just like in a Disney ad, I only see Ashley Rubin spelling out Mulan and then putting the small N at the end of Mulan.
mm,
Mm. Yep. So good. Both of you were perfection.
thank
Or
you.
I only think of you when my favorite line in the show is just you walking on the beginning. But
Uh,
walk off.
That, or when you have that whole monologue rant about the rats.
oh my,
Yeah, that's a good one.
thank you.
Like,
It's hard to get enough air in to spew it all out. Like,
I think that's part of the joy of watching you do it is watching.
actually grasping for air. She's trying to get this monologue out.
it's literally what happens. That has never happened to me in any other monologue. I've never had that before.
Oh my God. But yeah, no.
Her. I love her so much. It's funny when we were talking about this show. I was talking about this show with Marcy because I had told her what a great show it was and what a great show I thought it would be for Eminem. I actually talked to her about it on our very last night of Guys and Dolls. Um, and Jonathan Van Dyke had also, it turns out, talked to her about the same show. So she had already been a little interested. She knew what it was. And she asked me what I had done before. And I think maybe it was around when maybe it was a little further into the thing because I told her I did this show and I loved it. And I told her I was Cinderella. And she was like, but what other roles did you do? And I said, I did Belle, Mermaid, Rapunzel, but I'm Cinderella. And that was one of those things. I love doing Belle and Mermaid and Rapunzel, but Cinderella, like I got a lot more airtime with those. I only got to go on for Cinderella once.
Mhm.
And I just I did it, and because I was swinging it and the other girl, we didn't have like full swing rehearsal. Like the other girls hadn't seen me do it before they went on stage with me. And I did it and I was like, this I understand her.
Yeah.
And I love her. I love her so much. I really have a soft spot for, like, I know I play a lot of dumb characters, all flavors and colors of dumb. That's generally the way my career goes. And I think why I do it successfully, hopefully, is because I love them. Like I'm not making fun of them.
Yeah.
I think that there's like Frenchie or Cinderella. Like I just think she's so sweet and naive and wide-eyed, and it's it almost childlike. And who doesn't want to spend an hour and a half in that optimistic, wide-eyed, just sweet, caring, giving, home of a shell of a character,
Yeah.
One of my mom's favorite things she says is like, there's a section where I have a puppet and it gets ripped off and thrown, and I get it back. And I didn't realize I did this until my mom saw the show and said that it was like her favorite part. is that when I get it back, I like kiss the little puppet, Cinderella like kisses it and like pets it and like, like treats it like, it's that it's those little things that like I didn't even realize I did it, but now I'm quite, specific to do it.
Yeah.
But that kind of wide-eyed, sweet innocence, I love the opportunity to bring those characters to life.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You can tell that there's a lot of love with these characters.
Yeah.
You put a lot of love into these roles. But yeah, no, it's just so crazy that like from you and Johnny suggesting this show that you guys had worked on like 10 years prior, that we would do 1 3 week run. And from that, we now get to do a national tour.
Yeah, especially when you put it like that.
It's crazy. And like I knew when we first did it that like we had something very special,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of hoped that people would respond to it well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how it's progressed and all the princesses that we've worked with over years now, which is crazy for me to say years.
Yeah. That is it is.
Oh my goodness. That it's just wild.
Yeah. And this had really like every I haven't worked with a bad princess. That's another.
Yeah.
It really everyone brings something. And even like the different princesses, like we had some that I had just all I did was APAP with some of them, like.
Mm-hmm.
But every single one takes such care with these characters, and it's written so beautifully, and has, I think, executed them really well. And when that happens, I really think that this show has such potential. So to see that potential on a tour, and like where the theater in Pittsburgh was like
Oh
12
my
people.
God.
I
Yeah.
mean, cheering. I'm just really to get to see it go from like our little theater. And I do think the sweet spot for the show in particular is about 350, 450. Um,
Yeah.
but but when we hit those big theaters of people who don't know us and
Yeah.
are just in for the ride and get it, it's phenomenal.
Have you guys ever had audience members that walked in, ignored all the rated R signage, and sat down and thought it was going to just be a nice princess show?
Yes.
I
Yes.
say I probably, but I don't know.
And in Florida, the first 2 times we did it. Now, uh, it hasn't really happened since we've been doing the tour, but the very first time we did it, there was so much signage, literally like censor stickers on the program for like mature audiences. Da da da. People would think that it was a Disney affiliated show, which is cuckoo bananas. And people like I remember seeing just like 5 to 8 year olds in the first few rows, and I'm like, and the parents would go to the box office and complain and be like, I didn't know this was like an adult show. And I was like, if you open the program, there's a song called Big Tits. How
Yeah,
can you how can you not?
neon orange warning fly
Yeah.
in the program.
Which is it's just wild. And
And that's how I describe it when people ask if they could bring their kids. I say there are a lot of references. I said the biggest factor is we have a song called Big Tits. That gives you the theme in that. So if that is something you feel like the message is great, I think it's really female empowering. I think it's
mm-hmm.
a show, but that is the tone. So Big Tits is the tone. So if
Yeah.
you're not comfortable with that, I would say let's wait a few years.
Big Tits and like Happy Tune. I feel like those really set
Yeah.
But yeah, no, in when we did Boca, I'll never forget. So I was on for Snow, and it's the section in Big Tits, like right before the "oh, you require enormous titties," whatever. And
Mhm.
I would have to sing "Teaching Little Girls That All You Really Need." And directly in front of me were two 7 year olds.
Oh,
And I just went, okay.
yeah. Well, I do have to say, so I play a lot of characters in general that are very naked. And
Mm-hmm.
we do a lot of student matinees for all these kids.
Oh, oh.
So you know that I'm dressed as Rita Rhoda with a green bra with jingle bells, one on each nipple, and like, little sprinkly skirt. Talking to Philly Dilly about whatever it is that's inappropriate. And I'm like, it's not till you get there in the show that you're like, oh, or, playing Tanya and
Mm-hmm.
to seduce a child and like, sorry, kids, like there it happens all the time. And I'm always the naked one. So it's all fine and dandy until it's my turn to come out. And I'm just like, oh, the amount of times that has happened is quite a lot. Let's
I
just.
had my first moment with that during Sister Act. Now, my students are very supportive. Love them. I pro-warned them. I was like, do not come to Witches. If you already bought your tickets, please refund them. It is very X-rated. So they did. They listened. Great. Um, Sister Act though. Because during tech, Patrick came over to Aaron and I, and he was like, "Hey, this porn bit where Matthew comes out with the sparkly microphone and does this whole
Oh,
shtick, he added that in tech. Like it wasn't in the room. Like he came up
yeah.
to Aaron and I was like, come up with 3 8 counts and have fun. You're smart actors. Don't be ridiculous, but add a funny bit. And we did. But we took these I don't even know what they're called, the
The
essence
like the incense, the
incense. There
holders,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're flinging out into the audience. But the thing is, Aaron and I were flinging it in between our legs like a schlong, and we're like doing sex moves. And like I got down on my knees and was like really giving it to.
Oh,
And like keep in mind, like the first like couple of audiences, they were eating it up, right? And I'm talking to them. I'm like, oh yeah, you like that? Like the first row, like I'm going insane. And my student texted me after that part happened, and I didn't know she was front row until I looked straight down when I was on my knees. And I was like, oh, yeah, you like, oh, shit. And that was my first moment where I was like, fuck. Like, I'm just uncomfortable now. I am so sorry. And I walked out into the lobby after expecting the mother to rip me a new one. And she looked at me, she goes, I loved it. And I was like, oh, thank Christ. All right, good. Thanks for coming. Oh my God.
Because I'm always singing, and I wasn't in that very first section. So there are so many people on either side of the stage. I was backstage singing like towards the back of the clump. So I never saw that. I had no idea.
Oh my God.
It
It
was so
was
fucking funny.
That's hilarious. I thought they were laughing because of like the porn boys.
No, I was literally sitting in the back of the house, and of course the porn voice comes out, and then I just see this fucking idiot just like flinging around the incense, and I was just like, this asshole
it's
is
like this
just
is what they hired him for.
yeah, just running around.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. But so I'm just like thinking because at the time that this will come out, we will be starting rehearsals again. We're going to be opening up in Fort Lauderdale. Is that correct?
Yes, at the yeah, somewhere kind of by Hollywood or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I'm now associate director. So
Yeah.
All right.
I'm very excited. Um
Hell yeah.
yeah, cuz
Yeah.
I love, I I I love getting to help out and that kind of stuff. So
Sweet.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because we're doing Fort Lauderdale. We're doing, I think it's like closer to like Miami-Dade, and
mhm.
then we're doing
Orlando, Tampa, Orlando.
Yeah, I can't wait to bring this show to fucking Orlando.
Oh my God.
They're gonna
And
eat you guys
So
up.
excited.
and then going to Tampa at the same theater that you did this show 10
Yeah,
years ago.
11. Oh,
11. That's
go.
crazy.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I mean we had an extension planned when I did it 11 years ago, but due to technical difficulties, it wound up being canceled. Um, but that's how successful this show was there. So I really feel like it's going to be phenomenally embraced there. And especially Orlando. Like I have dreams. I don't know if this is, realistic, but gosh, I'd love to like take pictures in costume like on Disney property. Like not like in the park, but like, at the hotels and stuff.
Oh
Like,
my God. Us at a bar in our Disenchanted
yeah,
costumes on a Disney property. Gagged.
someone
Pooped.
that's like Disney. Like I want that so badly. I don't know. Like I don't know. We have to package it like it, for selling ticket purposes, of course.
We gotta try to figure out a way how to sneak around and do that.
Get to
Oh
the
my
Disney
Epcot
Corporation.
ball.
If only. If only.
I need it. I need it. So,
I think we could literally go to like the signs or like
yeah,
the Magic Kingdom signs and like flip it off or something. I think it'd be
yeah.
so funny, like in the costumes. I think it'd be so
Wouldn't that be
wicked.
awesome? Like there's so many places that we could do. We just have to find places that we wouldn't be like mauled by kids. Like
Yeah.
we'd have to make sure we're not like
Mommy,
infringing.
why does Rapunzel have a unibrow?
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, you and me, we'll discuss and let's try to figure out a plan for that when we get to
Okay.
Orlando.
Done. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. But we love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on our silly, goofy little podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Any old time you let me know. I will always like this. This is awesome. I love chatting with you guys. And if this is the excuse to do it, then so be it.
Hell yeah. Hell
Listen,
yeah.
I'm the biggest fan of Ashley Rubin out there. Like I'm obsessed with Ashley Rubin.
Oh, and
Obsessed.
both, yeah, we all need to do a show together again soon.
Yes, please. Grease 2.0.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many we could do. I mean, I would
Truly.
also do Mamma Mia, but
Dream. South
yeah,
Florida theaters, please. Do Mamma Mia so we can do
we
it.
or to like not be touring so that we can do it some more.
True.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I'll start
Well,
making a list.
Ashley Rubin, I would love for you to shout out your social medias so people can like check in and see what you're up to and all that kind of jazz.
Oh, okay. I think my Instagram is Ashley Rubin 1. I'm
Mhm.
99% sure that's it. And I'm on Facebook. Rubin.
Oh yeah.
This is where my age shows. I have TikTok. I work with some phenomenal younger performers who have made TikToks with and for me. But for $1 million, maybe my name's Ashley Rubin if I could get it, but I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how to make it work. People send me on. I don't. I Maybe I'll learn how to do that this year. So Instagram, probably Ashley Rubin 1.
Great.
But if not, try 2.
Well,
Oh my
Ashley,
God.
thank you again for spending time with us. We appreciate you coming on. Kat, do you have any closing remarks?
Go see Disenchanted on tour. We're coming
Damn
to a
right.
theater near you, baby. Hey.
Hey. Well, this has been Nonic Nonsense. We come to you on our dark days on Mondays. Keep in tune. And happy holidays. Because after this one, I think we're taking a break for a little bit, right,
No,
Kat?
this is January. This is
Oh,
our second
January.
episode in January.
Oh shit. Well, welcome back. And I hope you had a happy holiday. Um, but anyways, yes, this has been Non-Ec Nonsense. I am Michael Matterdomini.
I am Kat Gold, and
I am Ashley Rubin.
Stay happy, stay healthy, no COVID.